And normally I would notice it. I might wake up with a super stiff finger, especially after doing manual labor. And I noticed that my hands were not hurting.
Hey Bruce, welcome to Touchtail. So happy to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Tracy.
Awesome. So, can you start off just by telling the listeners a little bit about how you were feeling prior to coming to QHS?
Well, a friend of mine, who's one of the guys who started the thing, called me up and said, "You got to take a look at this." So I said, "Sure." Time he calls, I say, "Okay, let's try it." And I forget which device it was that was my very first one, but when I started using it, I noticed the first day that I was sleeping much better. And normally I would get up 3 or 4 times a night, and with starting using that, it was maybe once a night, and been that way ever since, and usually because I have to get up and go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Um, then I noticed, because I'm in my 60s, I was starting to have some arthritis pain in my hand, and especially my finger joint. And within, I would say, 7 or 8 days, that I was not noticing that. And normally I would notice it. I might wake up with a super stiff finger, especially after doing manual labor, which I wasn't doing at the time. I was working at a car dealership, moving cars from place to place, which is pretty easy driving a car. And I noticed that my hands were not hurting after, it was only a couple of weeks. And then I got the second device in, started using two of them for a while, and got to a point where a lot of stuff that used to hurt all the time didn't hurt anymore. And then I ordered the HHS, which I guess we're still waiting on. And then since the advent of the QVibes app, figured out how to use that. Many calls with Lane, because she had used it a whole lot more than I had, and said, "Oh, you do this, yes, lay it on your body, do this, do this." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So fast forward a few years, recently I changed jobs, and I went back into construction and had some jobs lined up. People wanted me to do some work in their kitchen or garage or fence or whatever. And having not done that in about 5 years, that was, I knew going to be a physical challenge the first few weeks, which it always is when you haven't been down on the ground and back up 100 times in a day, kind of like having a 2-year-old. And I have some very young grandchildren that, it was funny, I did 3 days of construction, up, down, up, down, up, down, hundreds of times, doing some baseboards and floors and stuff like that. And then babysat one of those evenings for a 3-year-old on the fire, up, down, up, down, up, down. And then the next day, instead of resting, I was working in my garage and moving a freezer and some other stuff around. So did some heavy lifting outside most of the day. And all of a sudden, my feet felt like they're on fire, like I didn't get all of them right. They just hurt. Just, whether from doing heavy lifting or the pounding of what I was doing, moving around. And so came in, took a shower, laid down on the bed, turned the QVibes on, and put my bare foot, the worst one, on the QVibes. And it was running. And I probably went to sleep and woke up because I didn't hear the tone anymore. And I looked at it, and it had been running for maybe 7 minutes, and I couldn't get it restarted back. And then I noticed my foot that had been literally felt like it was on fire, I couldn't feel any pain at all. It had completely alleviated the inflammation in that probably 7 minutes. And normally mine will run 40, 43 minutes if I just sit still and let it run. Couldn't get it restarted, was going to do the other foot, but the other foot didn't hurt either. So frequency it was delivering worked like literally within just a few minutes. So I was pretty amazed by that. Called Lane, told her what happened, and she says, you should do an interview. I'm like, okay. So anyway, here we are. And that was literally just a few days ago that I did that. And then yesterday I did a bunch of manual labor. My hands were sore and feeling arthritic again. So I did the same thing, put the worst hand on it, and within 5 minutes or so, I thought, man, I got stuff to do while I'm sitting here. And it was a night and day difference. So all I can say is it's a real blessing, and it works.
That's amazing. That is really amazing. I mean, it's crazy. You should hear it, Bruce. Like, I have people who tell me their toenails are growing back after 50 years that they haven't had from an injury, even like teeth and eyesight and, you know.
Some deformed fingernail from getting smashed doing construction from 5 years ago or so, and I didn't even think of that. So I'm going to work on that a little bit too. For two of them especially are kind of mangled, and they grow, but they grow horribly wrong. And so I'll do more of that. I've put in those fingertips on the vibes and see what happens. Can't hurt it. I know that. And there's other things that probably the people never said anything or never don't keep up with what we're doing and the amazing things that are happening. But one of our friends, she's in her 80s, was diagnosed with lymphoma, and one of our friends said, "Here, you take my device," and this was 2-3 years ago. "You take my device, and I'll go get another one." And she started wearing that, and her lymphoma went from lumps the size of grapefruits to lumps were nearly undetectable when they did the next scan. It was in about 4 months. So pretty amazing, and thankfully she's still with us. And she only had one round of chemo that nearly killed her, and so she quit doing anything the doctor told her to, and is just using the whatever version is before version 9 is the device she has. So she's not using the Q vibes that I see her a couple times a month playing cards. I need to show her how to use the Q vibes because her friend has not been using it, who turned her onto this in the first place. But I'm amazed. I'm not surprised, but I'm amazed at how well this works. And we know the technology's been out for some time between Tesla's discovery and Raymond Rife's discoveries. And Rife stuff, well, Tesla was in the 1890s, so over 100 years ago, and Rife was in the 1920s when he discovered what he discovered. And, it's not necessarily new technology. I guess it's new delivery with what we're doing. And it works, and if people will just use it, and it helps to believe in it, which I have for a long time. But it's the delivery of this is so easy and convenient to use. I realize some smartphone screens are more sensitive than others, so it's hard to stay on the screen. But if somebody sits still, I could drive with it and stick out a T-shirt on my shoulder for a shoulder that I've had some problems with, and it's between that and some injectable therapy. I didn't have to have surgery. I should have years ago, but that shoulder now is 95%, whereas before it was about 50%. And hardly any pain. I can actually sleep on it now. If I wake up and it hurts at all, then I turn on the Q vibes and stick it on my T-shirt for a while, and it works. And it works. It doesn't take hours and hours, doesn't take days and days. It works in literally 10-15 minutes. That the shoulder's inflammation is gone. So I'm guessing that the application is learning my DNA and correcting whatever's there.
Yep, it's scanning your body, looking for the weak frequency signals, and delivering custom twine waves down for you. So that's what I think is
Yeah,
unique about our stuff
yeah,
is that it's all custom, for the
yeah,
end user.
yeah.
So
And I remind people all the time, don't share it. I mean, share it, tell people about it, but don't share your device
yeah, yeah,
because it's talking to you. You don't want to confuse it with someone else's,
true.
or at least that's what I was told. And you keep it that way, it has seemed to work better. Because early on, I had, told somebody, here, put this on that hand that hurts or that elbow that hurts, and it would help them. But then it took a while for it to get back to helping me.
Yeah, good.
My DNA, but I had to be told, oh, yeah, you can't do that. Oh, okay, I didn't know. But then, like I was now, I try to keep up with the newsletters and everything going on. For a long while, I didn't. Just, when something hurt, I'd turn it on. And, as we have more birthdays, we're going to have more things that don't want to work on our bodies. And this seems to help pretty much anything.
Well, maybe not, because I think in the announcement that went out this morning, our very favorite thing that we're looking forward to most, the QARC, was mentioned. So
Cool.
that brings me to my last question, Bruce. What are you going to do with a 30-year-old body?
More than likely, if I can convince my wife to do it also, if she's a member, if she doesn't want to do it, then, who knows? I may be looking for someone in their 30s and have some more kids. I only have 5 kids, so I have another family.
Yeah.
Most likely. I'll be very much looking forward to that. And, somebody says, well, do you want to outlive your kids? I said, well, unfortunately, we've had to bury one child, but it wasn't the end of it was bad at the time. We knew things were going to happen. She had, in vitro, she had a syndrome 100 times worse than Down syndrome, called trisomy 18. So all along, they knew that the baby probably wasn't going to make it very long if she even made it to term, which she made it to term and she lived a week. But with that particular syndrome, the baby can't eat and breathe at the same time. So 90+% of them don't make it past the first few days. 99% don't make it to the first birthday. And the 1% that are living are severely disabled and challenged. And the oldest one is 40 or 42. And and they know what to look for. And so it wasn't as bad because we were expecting that. So, but the whole point is, I'm okay living to be 200 or so. I just hope they can figure it out how we can, get to 60 or 70 or 80 or whatever, go back to 30, hopefully more than once. But even if it's just once, that's a real blessing. So, you can have another career, do whatever you do. So I think that'll be amazing when we get to that point. And I think I'm actually somewhere in the 400s on the list. So good news is I'll be able to see a whole bunch of my friends go through it and see what it does and, see what it can do and what it can't do. And, okay, go with it from there and, be blessed and bless other people. And obviously have a whole lot fewer health problems after that time. So that'll be beyond way cool.
Yeah, it's going to be good times, that's for sure. Looking forward to it. So, Bruce, what would you like to say in closing?
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to have the interview with you, and hopefully there'll be others. I've got a couple of friends that are just now using it and are having amazing results, so I will talk to them about getting an interview or letting me tell their story if they don't want to do it. they don't have necessarily a good face for TV, but more like they have faces for radio. But the video is fun, and I think the communication is much better, assuming we have a decent connection. And we'll do it again. We'll have some additional good stories. I'm sure I'll probably have some additional good stories. It's interesting lately. Not too much hurts anymore because of this. So it's not like huge, breakthrough, which I was when I first started using the Twine Wave devices, and it has just been a complete blessing. Some people still don't buy it, and I'm like, I can't, I get you to water, but I can't make you drink. But if you see me moving around a whole lot better than I used to, and I was an athlete most of my life, was always working out, probably spent, I don't know, 4 decades at least in the gym every day, and stayed in, basically bodybuilder condition up until the last 10 years when things, and then you get out of the habit, and if you don't see any, cure, so to speak, for what ails you, then it makes it harder to keep doing it, and you tend to get sedentary and aren't as excited about things. Jump out of bed. Does anything hurt? Okay. Lay back down, turn on the app, and let it do its thing. And in many cases, that same item won't be a problem the next day. And that's pretty amazing, and I consider that probably the biggest blessing of this app. And the devices work good, but the app seems like it's, I don't know, I forget the number they told us, but 200 times more powerful than the Twine devices, or whatever their number is for counting the frequency delivery. But no, it's just been amazing, and I would tell anybody out there, for something this miraculous, there's really no price you can put on it. What's your body worth? What's your life worth? Do you want to be miserable? I ask people all the time, how many weekends do you think you have left on this planet that you want to spend them? You want to be hurting, pain, and sitting around whining about your ailments, or do you want to do something about it and live life, start living?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, and appreciate your time. Hopefully,
Thank you, Bruce. I look forward to seeing you.
that's right. Thank you very much.